Are you a dark empath? Let's explore. Greetings, perceptive souls, and welcome to my channel. I'm Bevan Neiman Cortez. I am a co-founder of the Empath Leaders community. In the 10 years that I have been guiding and supporting sensitive people like you and I've noticed a variety of popular culture trends in relation to our gifts. And the most recent one that I've noticed is the idea and concept of a dark empath. Now, I don't know what the origin of this is. I've just started to see it everywhere, right? Videos, blog posts, all kinds of discussion online about dark empaths. So I decided, you know what, as a coach, as a mentor, as a spiritual leader, I'm just going to dive in. I'm going to watch these videos, I'm going to read these blogs, and I'm really going to see what's there. I like to approach everything new with an open mind, even though sometimes I felt a little triggered, to be quite honest, about that concept. And, there was a variety of different content, and some of it was really useful, but most of it actually helped me to understand that my triggering wasn't just my own stuff. It was actually my discernment kicking in, right? So we know when something is aligned and we know when something isn't aligned. And here's what I discovered by reading a lot of things about this dark empath concept, is that there were two reasons that someone was posting this online. A, they were a skeptic that empath is even a thing. So there was a lot of information out there like, well, people who call themselves empaths are just faking this. We want to be special. We want to have attention. Look at me, I'm an empath. And I think this is a really destructive and it's almost really like gaslighting, right? It's so dismissive of our way of being. But I've heard this before, it's not my first rodeo with this online. When you are an online entrepreneur, you hear all kinds of things. You have people come at you who say that you're fake and you're just, making all of this up. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of dismiss that. That's an old trope. I'm not worried about it too much. But the piece that I was concerned about was the other message that was being put out by these articles and these videos. And that is that empaths, dark empaths specifically, are here to manipulate other people with our abilities. That we are using these gifts, these intuitive empathic gifts, our ability to sense energy, our ability to sense into, people's emotions, and that we're using those things to manipulate others. Essentially, it was equating a dark empath with being a narcissist. Now, I imagine that if you're watching this channel and you're thinking, yes, empath fits me, HSP fits me, you probably at some point in your life have intersected with a person who is further on the narcissistic scale. And what do I mean by that? I mean someone who tends to be very, very selfish, very willing to use other people to get what they want. Now, sometimes they're doing this consciously and sometimes they're doing it unconsciously. People who, when you bring up a problem or there's something that you're setting a boundary for, they turn it back on you. They blame you. They say, well, you're the problem. I'm not the problem. So essentially the definition of someone who's pretty far on that narcissistic scale, and I'm not just talking about those who have a diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder, but just anyone who goes a little higher in that direction, is that they do not self-reflect. Okay. They do not look at their own behavior. They don't think, oh, did I say something that could have hurt someone? And they're not self-accountable. If you try to ask them to be self-accountable, they refuse to do so, and they turn the blame around on you. So I've worked with literally thousands of empathic clients throughout the years, and there are different stages that I have noticed that are pretty uniform in anyone's awakening journey, evolutionary journey. And one of those stages is When a person has had no boundaries, they basically allowed people to just walk all over them. They've been people pleasing, shifting and changing and chameleoning yourself to try to be what you think other people want you to be. And then you decide, I want to focus on me. I want to focus on my own needs. I want to take care of myself. I'm going to learn how to say no and be unapologetic about it. When you go from that one extreme of anything goes and I'll do anything and I'll take anything from people to finally, I guess, having a backbone, right, is what I'll call it. It can feel like you are being selfish, aggressive, or even narcissistic. I've had many, many clients that have said to me, am I the narcissist now? Because I'm saying, I don't want that anymore. I'm not going to stand for that anymore. Here's what I want. I'm going for what I want. And we feel this sense of guilt, right? That taking care of ourselves and putting ourselves first is becoming the thing that hurt us. I'll tell you what I tell all of my clients. If you have the ability to self-reflect, if you are wondering, am I the narcissist? It is 100% guaranteed that you are not. Because as I said before, narcissists do not have the ability to self-reflect. So let's get back to these articles and these videos talking about dark empaths, talking about us using our gifts to manipulate others, talking about us using our gifts and essentially being a narcissist in an empath's clothing, if you will. It's just not possible. Now, can narcissists fake empathy? Absolutely. They do it all the time. They act like they care about people. They act like they understand. But when it comes down to it and when push comes to shove, when you hold them accountable for that, it won't happen. So you can tell the difference because an empath will actually do back handsprings and go out of our way and twist ourselves up in a pretzel just to make sure that we did not hurt another person on purpose. Pop culture has all kinds of propaganda, and there's all sorts of things that we're exposed to now that we weren't when I was a child, right? We didn't have social media. I'm sort of dating myself now. And so, there's all this stuff out there, lots of opinions, lots of voices. And the most important thing that I've discovered and what I tell to the people I work with is you have to gain a strong sense of discernment. And you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm reading this article about Dark Empath because I'm curious. I want to know everything I can about what it means to be an empath. It's fine to read all of that, and I did. Where is this coming from? What is the motivation? What is the energy behind it? Now, if the energy is to acknowledge that empaths have shadows, absolutely we do. We are human beings, okay? Just because we can sense energy doesn't mean we don't have a shadow self. As a matter of fact, we're probably more intimately aware of our shadow self than most people. And we're more likely to actually do the inner work to face it, to overcome it, to release multi-generational patterning, to look at codependency or attachment styles. Empaths are probably like 50% of people who pursue counseling and healing work and therapy because we're self-reflective, because we want to be self-accountable and responsible for how we show up in the world. So the fact is that empaths get jealous, we get angry, we have, toxic communication patterns just like anyone else. We have toxic relationship patterns. But the difference is when we realize this about ourselves, then we begin to take action to change it because that's not who we want to be. We want to continuously move towards being happier and healthier and calmer. And some of these things, many of these things, these shadow self aspects are just considered normal in society, right? You watch TV and you see relationship dynamics, and it's codependent and dysfunctional, and there's all kinds of betrayals about women are like this and men are like this and gay people are like this, and we take this as norms when in fact they're really unhealthy. But an empath will start to look at those things, start to address those things. So I think it's really important, my friends, that when you see anything about our traits, that you ask yourself, what is the motivation? Is the motivation to push me down, to make me less, to diminish my gifts and my abilities? Or is the motivation to empower me, to create sovereignty, to help me build confidence and self-trust and connection? And this is the way that I look at everything that I consume. It's why I'm so careful about what I put into the world as a coach, as a leader, because I want people to understand that you have the power to direct your journey. And the way that you address your shadow self, right, your darkness, is unique to you. You're going to know what it is that you need. The way I address my shadow self is going to be unique to me. And no article online is going to tell us how to do that. No article online is going to reveal who we really are. It might give us a point of inspiration. Maybe this video is giving you a point of inspiration, but you still have to do the work, and I still have to do the work. So be cautious about what you read out there. You know, there's lots and lots of trends, and empath is an interesting piece. We've seen trends since Star Trek times. We've seen trends around boundaries. We've seen trends around, you know, why did people awaken in 2012, which is actually when I had my awakening, ironically. There's all of these sort of pop culture trends, and we have to take them with a grain of salt. We have to use our discernment. And we can enjoy it, we could laugh about it, we can even get pissed off about it, which is kind of what I did, because I'm like, what is the purpose of putting this out here? Is it helpful to sensitive people? And my answer that I received was no, it's not. We all have darkness, we're human beings. We have darkness and we have light. And hopefully, as time goes on, the darkness subsides and your light begins to grow, which is exactly why I run an online global community like Empath Leaders, because I want people to maintain their sovereignty. I want them to take charge of their life. I want them to trust themselves, right? And articles like this don't really help us do that. So this is my take on Dark Empath. And as I tell all of my clients, you can either agree with me or you can say, nope, she's full of it. I don't believe in that at all. Take from it what you will, but I'm going to make commentary on these things that go around and go around, and they're just taken as truth, when in fact, they're not my truth, right? They're not my truth. I'm an empath and I'm filled with light. I also have darkness that I'm responsible for and I'm taking care of. And I hope that you feel the same way. Thank you so much. There's a link in the description box below that will allow you to connect with our community if you wish to make those connections with like-hearted souls, people who want to uplift you, who want to empower you. That's what we're here for.